Welcome. We, during workshops of Vedic Mathematics Knowledge Systems, have to remain conscious that the exercise of simultaneous compilation of basic concepts of Vedic mathematics is to be given proper attention. If we will be fully conscious as that the workshop methodology, though is different than blackboard teaching and book reading learning process, but still inherently the conceptual comprehension is the basic foundational feature of each learning and teaching processes. We are permitting our mind to have full glimpse of the values and features at work in the Vedic methodology of organization of knowledge. And as such, we have to ever remain fully conscious as that this process and procedure is essentially mathematical in nature. Ganita Sutras are the reservoir of values and features of mathematical need required for building superstructure for the Vedic knowledge as a single discipline upon the same foundation of single alphabet availability. This being so, today we are having a pointed attention upon the very first letter of the text of Ganita Sutras. There are 16 Ganita Sutras, and the first sutra is also a full scripture, one sentence scripture, 2 words scripture, a single hymn scripture of 16 letters in all. The beginning with the first letter means beginning with the first perfect number. As such, we sadhakas, anxious, desirous, having intensity of urge to be parallel with Vedic knowledge systems, have to go to the shelter of the organization of Ganita Sutras themselves. Ganita Sutras are organizing as 16 sutras, with first sutra preserving the structural keys for all the sutras. The first letter of the first sutra, as such, the first letter of the text of Ganita Sutras in their entirety is the 6th vowel. On the computer screen is a table of 5 basic features of such beginning. The beginning is with 6th vowel. So the letter A, the 6th vowel, is preserving the first fold, the principal fold, the uppermost fold of the values and features of organization of knowledge system of Vedic order. Ganita Sutras, like all other Vedic scriptures, are availing Devanagari alphabet. Devanagari alphabet is the single alphabet, the wholesome alphabet, which is being availed by Vedic knowledge to organize itself as a single discipline. Therefore, the unfolding process of the organization features the format as well is to flow parallel with the compactified format feature of Devanagari alphabet. We know that Devanagari alphabet is a compactified format alphabet. The uppermost is the letters alphabet, then it is followed by numbers. Letter sixth vowel A is of sixth placement in the sequence of vowels as 9 vowels class. The sixth placement of this very first letter in the class of vowels becomes its placement value. This placement value is its transcendental code value. Dive Ank Vyavastha in respect of the sixth vowel is value 6. Now, when we reach from letter A to number value 6, then it means that we are transcending from the uppermost format of Devanagari alphabet as letters alphabet to its next inner fold being the numbers alphabet. Varna Samamanaya to Ank Samamanaya is the attainment, the transcendence from letters alphabet to numbers alphabet is the step. It is the organization step. So when we will be beginning with first perfect number 6, we in fact are having a reach at the second fold, the Anka Samamanaya. From Varna Samamanaya to Anka Samamanaya, we will have sequential reach ahead at Sthapatya, geometric formats, manifested bodies format. From numbers to geometric bodies is the reach of this phase and stage. So the vowel A as values number 6 takes us to hypercube 6, the representative regular body of a 6 space in 4 space. The manifested expression is our Surya. 6 is a Surya Ank. 6 as a Surya Ank means that when we will transcend further from the Ank Samamanaya for its Sthapatya, geometric formats, then we will be having a reach at hypercube 6 format. Once we have this two-phase transcendence, firstly from letters Varna Samamanaya to numbers Ank Samamanaya as the first phase and stage, and from the Ank Samamanaya to Sthapatya to hypercube 6 as a representative body of a 6 space, that means parallelly we are having our reach as a beginning phase from the sun, Surya. Subsequently, we will be coming to the glimpse as that Purusha as well is the manifested but re-manifested body of 6 space content. So the next phase and stage, that is the fourth fold phase and stage of Devanagari Varnamala, is that along the Sthapatya, the geometric format, the Sthapatya miring rod format is a transcendental flow. This format is becoming a format of fourth phase and stage as a Divya Parvaha, transcendental flow. The Jyoti flow through rays of the sun is the physical manifestation phase and stage, and it means that five space content flows within rays of the sun along the Sthapatya format. Let us have a pause here. We had begun with the Varna Samamnai letters, reached at Ank Samamnai numbers. Then we reached ahead at Sthapatya geometric formats, and thereafter the phase and stage of a transcendental flow, five space content flow comes. And a step ahead, the fifth fold is of Punah Sthapana. It is a Jagat. It is a lively thing. From Vishwa to Jagat is the whole reach. Therefore, sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of Varga to be parallel with Vedic systems have to permit one's mind to transcend parallel with the transcendence permissible for the Devanagari alphabet as a compactified format setup of five folds. This, in fact, is the first foundational basic concept of Vedic mathematics, and its beginning is parallel with the beginning with the first perfect number, that is 6. Therefore, sadhakas are fulfilled with the intensity of Varga to be parallel with Vedic systems have a focus upon different values and features of the first letter. Eka adhikain purvain is the first sutra. Sixth vowel is the first letter. It takes us to value 6 and then to a 6-space domain. Now, 6-space domain as a content, as a 6-space content, when splits, it makes a spectra of 6, 4, 4, and 2. The 6-space content splits as a pair of creative domains, and the central dimension of spatial order, the summation value is 16. Let us have a pause here and let us re-glimpse and re-imbibe this spectra value 16 for 6-space domain as value 6 for the letter A, the first letter. This value 16 is parallel with the 16 sutras organization, 16 letters organization, and further, this value 16 is parallel with the TC value of a G being, and also it is parallel with Beej, the seed. Therefore, the entire seeds are lively here. These are being simultaneously organized, and it is this basic feature of Vedic mathematics which deserves to be imbibed well. Step ahead, when we will have a fresh visit to number value 16 as a values range 1 to 16, and when we will draw the table of its factors, we will see that values range 1 to 16 takes us to factors 1 to 29. It is a blissful internal feature. This interlocking, this inner organization feature of interlocking of values range 1 to 16 as of 29 factors with value 29 and 16 plus 13 parallel with 16 sutras and 13 sutras will bring us blissfully parallel with these These organization features inherently lively in this organization format itself. Therefore, sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity efforts to be parallel with Vedic systems. The Vedic knowledge organization systems shall revisit the Ganita Sutras, which are 16 in number, and value 16 as dimension of value 18, which is a TC value of a Vidya, TC value of a Prakriti, TC value of Ishwar, and also is parallel with organization of the text of Srimad Bhagavad Gita as 18 chapters. Therefore, sadhakas are fulfilled with the intensity of virtue to have full glimpse of the foundation, the basic concepts foundation of Vedic mathematics, shall visit the organization of the Ganita Sutras and also simultaneously with the organization of the text of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and step ahead as Sthapatya Ved, Sthapatya Upaved of Atharved, Atharved Samhita of 20 kandas will sequentially take us from 16 Ganita Sutras to 18 yogas of Gita to 20 kandas of Atharveda. It is this interlocking, it is this sequential foundational upgrading, this unfolding process, this organization methodology is to be chased, to be imbibed by us. With it, we will be having a conscious attention pointer as that the text of Ganita Sutras and Upsutras is having only one manifested format, that is of formulation Vargam. Varg square is hypercube 2. It is the representative regular body of 2 space in 4 space. 2 space in 4 space is also the role of 2 space as a dimension of a 4 space. The TCV value of formulation Varg is 14, which is parallel with 4 folds of hypercube 4, the representative regular body of 4 space. Therefore, we shall have a fresh visit of the formulation Varg. The formulation Varg here is in its manifested form as Vargam. Varg to Vargam means reaching from Prathamavriti to Dityavriti, from Karta to Karam. So Varg square as dimension of 4 space is being of manifestation values here as karma, as dimension taking us to a domain. Ganita Sutra 7 is the hymn which is having this text of Vargam. Therefore, the Ganita Sutra 7 from Ganita Sutra 1 to Ganita Sutra 7 is going to be the organization progression here within the text of sutras and upsutras. And Ganita Upsutra 7 is a scripture of 5 letters, and it is of 5 words and is of 37 letters and 149 as a TCV value. the formulation Varg as Vargam with these features deserves to be comprehended well, as when we will be through all the 10 folds of word formulation Varg of tissue value 14, we will be reaching as is the tabulation on the computer screen at value 638, which is 119, more than 519, the total letters of the text of sutras and sutras, and value 119 is 7 multiplied by 17, and 17 is the value of Atma. So from Jeev to Atma is the attainment, is the transition of the organization format, which is to be imbibed by us. It is with this imbibing that we will be having a comprehension of the other connected features. Here on the computer screen is full tabulation of the TCV values of the formulation of Ganita Sutra 7. It is 149. Let us revisit this 149. When we write 149 in 10 place value system, and when we look at it as triple tables, triple digits, 1, 4, and 9 of its distinct placements, and when further we have a visit at the internal organization of 1 as 1 square, 4 as 2 square, 9 as 3 square, it further brings us face to face with as to how the internal organization is actually giving us a shift from 1, 2, 3 to 1 square, 2 square, and 3 square. And still further, the summation value of these triple consecutive numbers square, 1 plus 4 plus 9, 14, takes us to the TC value of the formation Varg, and further it is parallel with 4 folds manifestation layer of hypercube 4, the representative regular body of a 4 space with 2 space as a dimension. One shall sit comfortably, and to permit the transcending mind to continuously remain in trance and to glimpse transition from Varga to Ghan, from square to a cube, from hypercube 2 to hypercube 3, and the superimposition of our addition operation and vertical operation with the symbolic representation as the symbol of pair of axes at 90 degree and the cross symbol as at diagonal format. It is this feature which will further help us comprehend as to how, when we will be having classification of groups and when we will be having a algebra of real numbers as fields of the pair of operations, or in other words, the pair of groups of the same elements, but of distinct operations, say as addition and multiplication, and the interrelationship, interlocking, intertransition feature of these two operations as well is not an independent but stands interlinked and interlocked. And it is this interlinking and interlocking of these identities, 0 as 1, which in fact have the interlock for the organization of a line as an interval, as an hypercube 1, which that way creates a mental lock, mental state. It becomes a linear progression mental state, and to transcend therefrom is difficult. Only as we have started with a pair of independent operations, but in the process of unification of pair of groups, we have so conditioned the identities for the relationship that the second identity remains as much the first identity, but for a few features of different operative setup. Now it is here where we have to revisit the creative dimension. Attempt here, though, appears to be of having a transition from a single axis to a pair axis, or in other words, from line to a surface. But the whole effort fails simply because of unrealistic conditioning in the form of interrelationship and interlocking accepted for 0 and 1 as identity of additive operation and identity of the multiplication operation. It is here where the need is to come to the shelter of the Vedic mathematics. Vedic mathematics has very successfully transitioned the Vedic systems with acceptance of a spatial dimension instead of a linear dimension, has reached creative space, for space, a space with plane as a dimension, and as many as quadruple spatial dimensions. Acceptance goes parallel with the split for a square as a quadruple quarter squares. It is here where we have to have our exercises. These, in fact, are going to be mental exercises meant for melting the mental conditioning caused because of our axioms as such. The axioms here in Vedic mathematics are that two space is to play the role of a dimension of a four space, and manifestation of entire space contents as dimensional spaces are to be a fourfolds. To have an appreciation thereof, to have comprehension of it, to have proper conditioning, melting phenomenon approach inbuilt here, we have to visit afresh the setup of a square, setup of a surface as infinite points. The points here as constituents and as components are to be distinguished well. The points here are going to be the points of a surface. The structure of a surface is to be accepted inbuilt within the points of a surface. However, points along the surface will have sometimes the structures of a line and sometimes even devoid of length as well. So the same set of points, the infinite set of points, when are viewed as the setup of infinite lines, these vertically and diagonal wise will provide us different structures without displacement for any of the points. So it is without displacement of the points along the surface, but still there happening a transition from addition operation to multiplication operation. It is this superimposition of multiplication and addition, and it is this split thereof which will take us to the structures of a square and a cube, And when we will have visit, when we will have a revisit, then we will see as to how the cube is solid, the representative body of 3 space, hypercube 3, gets as a surface of a pair of faces. Let us visit it. Let us comprehend it. Let us imbibe it. Let us appreciate it. Let us be blissful. It is this blissful state which is to be attained. It is with this attainment only that we will be having a transition from linear order 3 space mathematics to spatial order 4 space mathematics. Vedic mathematics is a 4 space mathematics. The modern mathematics is handling a linear 3 space mathematics. It is handling only the space as a physical content with a dimensional frame of 3 linear dimensions. The Vedic mathematics is handling this space as a creator's space, as a 4 space with a quadruple spatial dimensions. We have to transit. It is only with this transition that we will be having a transition from the mental state of the linear order modern mathematics to spatial order Vedic mathematics. Once we are within creative space dimension, that is within its surface, then the dimensional setup here, because of the specific features of this spatial dimension in the form of 2 plus 2 equal to 2 cross 2, addition and multiplication gets superimposed. Not only that, minus 2 into minus 2 is also 4. So orientations also get superimposed. That means both faces of the surface get superimposed and interlocked in such a way the in-between space gets unmanifested. It is this unmanifestation happening which is to be enlivened as a manifested state. For it, we have to understand, we have to comprehend the dimensional synthesis within spatial dimension of a creator's space. How is it that all dimensional spaces, positive, negative, or of any number of times, these have single synthesis phenomenon? This phenomenon is to be chased. This phenomenon is to be imbibed. It is only with imbibing of this phenomenon that we will be having the satisfaction of our urge to be blissfully parallel with the Vedic system. So when we will be having a single dimension of order n, means we will be having n points standing coordinated. And these endpoints with pair of endpoints will make the inner domain of n minus 2 value only. And when we will be having a pair of such dimensions, then we will be having synthesis for the second dimension at the beginning endpoint. And this will be a transition from pair of zeros to pair of singles, zero dimensional to linear dimensions. 1 cross 1 is 1. It will remain a single entity. The second dimension will add value number 9, and the free pair of endpoints of the pair of dimensions will have a gap n minus 2. This gap will be filled by the n minus 2 in between points of the pair of endpoints of the second dimension. So the net setup value will be n plus 2. One may further have a pause here and take note that we are within a space as a surface, as a setup of a pair of axes, and each axis is of a 0 order. And further as that, the pair of faces of a surface are superimposed, and these look like as if there is only a single face. So we have to permit our mind to transcend this mental state and have to be linearly parallel with the existence of second face of the surface as well being there. And that is why when we will have this setup, then the other face will supply and complement. And that is why the synthesis phenomenon will have smooth sequential progression when in continuity we will be taking up triple dimension and quadruple dimensions. And it is this synthesis, dimensional synthesis within spatial dimension of the creator's space, which deserves to be comprehended. It is with this comprehension we will have a full appreciation of the distinguishing attainments of the spatial order mathematics of 4 space, then that and over of the linear order 3 space. For it, we have to permit our mind to melt the conditioning because of the linear order setup to a spatial order setup. It is this which, when attained, will take us back to the formulation Vargam, Varg in karma, in a second state from dimension to a domain. And the formulation 23, formulation Varga with this value 23 will also bring us face to face with as that numbers 1 to 9 lead to factors 1 to 14. Numbers 1 to 14 lead to factors 1 to 23. And numbers 1 to 23 lead to factors 1 to 42. And value 22 is the TC value of a Punarjanam. It is going to be a phase and stage of remanifestation. So the Jyoti flow from orb of the sun, remanifesting, transiting and transforming the Vishwa as a Jagat, is to be taken as the foundational reach. This much is the enriched foundation, and the initiation for it is to be from the first letter of value 6, the same as 6 space as dimension will take to 9 space as origin, and it is to a now Braham. So it is this reach from Surya, sun, to Braham, eternity, which is inherently inbuilt in this foundational base of Ganita Sutras, Vedic mathematics. Let us have compilation. Let us continue with this compilation, and like that, we will be having sequential progression. Thank you very much.